I'd heard of all the talk about this film, of course, before actually sitting down to watch it. The explicit sex scenes that will cause headaches for various different classification boards across the world, and also a certain scene that has been parodied many times since, involving Kim Basinger being fed food out of a fridge by Mickey Rourke. It's going to be a long time before I can get that out of my head. But now I've actually watched the film, I just have one question, which is, what was all the fuss about? The story follows the ever-increasing sadomasochistic relationship between a young New York art gallery assistant, played by newcomer Kim Basinger, and a Wall Street trader, played by Mickey Rourke. No, not that Mickey Rourke. This Mickey Rourke. The 90s and boxing were not kind to you, my friend. Now, these characters do actually have names, but what's the point? It's Mickey Rourke and it's Kim Basinger. The only little bit of interest here is that Mickey Rourke's character's last name is Gray. The film is directed by Adrian Lyne, whose previous film, Flashdance, released in 1983, had been the big hit of the year and had gone on to influence films like Top Gun. So when Warner Brothers had this saucy script and Adrian Lyne directing, I mean, they must have thought that they really had a film that would pull all the audience in. Unfortunately, that was not to be the case. The film had numerous problems trying to get an R rating from the MPAA, and they kept sending it back for recut after recut until eventually Warner Brothers just dropped it. And the film ended up sitting there for nearly 2 years before MGM eventually came on board and released the film. And when it finally did make it into cinemas, it was basically dead on arrival. However, it has gone on to garner a bit of a cult following and even produced 2 sequels. Well, a sequel and a prequel. All these recutting issues are still very present today. It feels like too many hands have been involved in the creative process, and so we end up here with a completely incoherent product. Scenes end abruptly, other ones have an interesting build-up that just lead nowhere, and when you don't give the audience what they want, it doesn't sit well. Aside from the basically non-existent sexiness of this film, is the fact that the filmmakers have wasted every opportunity to delve into the psychological aspects of both of these characters. We do have scenes later on in the film when it's leading to a climax. Sorry, this film never reaches a climax. Where we see Kim's character crying and being upset and slightly torn over what's happening to her, but it's cut between scenes with other narratives dropped in that make no sense. They don't go anywhere and they don't further any more of the film. This film, however, does have some merits to it, and they all come from Kim Basinger. She actually seems to be putting a lot into her part. However, while filming it, she didn't exactly have the best of times. In fact, she described it as a nightmare. She said that she was basically treated like dirt by both the director and by Mickey Rourke. He would refuse to talk to her on set and not give her any notes or direction of how her character should feel. And also, the director forced the film to be shot sequentially in order to really pile on the pressure and film her breakdown in a realistic way. Anyway, I find this film to be a complete dud directionally. He can't seem to keep a proper story together. All he does is ape back to a previously successful technique in Flashdance by having a music montage every 15 minutes. It's just one big cop-out. What I'm trying to say is, you don't need to see it. The stories that surround the making of this film far outweigh the interest of actually what is on the screen. When this film was test screened, 35 of the original 40 that actually stayed and watched the whole film stated that they hated it. Now, I don't hate it. I just find it boring and stupid. Hello, thank you very much for watching the review. If you want to add any of your comments or feelings about 9.5 Weeks, please feel free to clog up the comments down below. Let's see what film I choose for next week. One that I've always wanted to see. Next week, we will be watching The Graduate. So, I will see you same time next week. Goodbye! I think that's how it goes.